Welcome. Welcome to SK Podcast. My name is Kimberly Steinbrink, and this is my lovely co host, Stephen Rosario. Yeah. So, you
Rumble
guys, you
style.
guys, you know, we've been playing around with all of our new editing tools and everything like that. Guess what? I made. You know me, I'm personally proud of this. This is everywhere that you can follow us. I don't even know where I'm pointing. Follow us on all these. We even got a few TikToks up there. And our Patreon page right here. We will start working on some content on there. If you would
Maybe.
like to join, and our SKP cast is our website, it's our landing page. It's got a few episodes and videos up there. So, anyway, our topic today is about, the dubs. The
Pass it.
dubs.
Pass it, man. You Bogarden.
Right,
Do
exactly.
they still say Bogart? You gargling? Okay. That ain't. It's like.
Ah.
I gotta go get my script. Because
Exactly.
Mississippi about to join the ranks of the other 18 states that are legal marijuana. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
And you know what though? The 18 states, is it the 18 states that it's recreational? I think that's it.
Is it?
Yeah, because
I was curious
medical
of that.
medical marijuana is legal in a lot more.
Yeah, I
I
think
might
like 30 something states, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think the
And so I mean
majority.
Mississippi's always slow to move on these things, but I mean so there has been a little bit of a victory with this. We didn't get everything that we actually voted for last November or 2 Novembers ago.
Yeah.
In 2020, we actually voted for a lot more places to be able to sell
Yeah,
it
it was
and
real screwy how they did
yeah.
our ballot system here in Mississippi. Now, if we got local people, you know what's going on, but anybody out of our state, I mean, this was just
It seemed
crooked,
to
same
me
old,
like a
up to the
little bit of
same old
voter
crap.
suppression since the fact that like what 75 over
Yeah.
75% of everybody in Mississippi voted
Yes.
for this initiative and then well, they didn't like the language, so they found a technicality and withdrew it.
Yeah.
Which, of course, at least 75% of the people that voted for it was a little bit upset about that.
So it got on the ballot
Yeah.
wrong. Like the process of getting it onto the ballot was messed up in some kind of way. How'd it get on the ballot anyway? It shouldn't matter once it's on the ballot and the people have spoken.
Right.
That's mine and
Right.
Kim's point. It's like
Right.
it's just already there. We spoke on it.
Right.
77% of us said, "Yeah, let's do that."
And I could see if it was maybe a
And they
little
said,
over
"No,
50% or something like that, then maybe take it off and go
you
about it
didn't."
that way. But
Yeah.
75% plus, it was
Right.
over 75. I think it was like 78 if you got
It was
technical about it.
yeah.
I mean, that's the part to me that feels like you want to talk about voter suppression. That was suppressing the votes of the people. The votes of
Mhm.
the people overwhelmingly
Yeah.
voted for this initiative, and then they didn't like the language in it, so they decided to use the technicality to withdraw it. It's
Mhm.
just now recently passed, but it passed with the one that wasn't voted on. So when you voted, you
Right.
had an A option or a B
That's
option.
what was on the ballot
Yeah.
was an A and a B.
Yeah. And everybody voted mostly for, I believe it was the B option.
Right. I think
And
so. I think so.
so when it
You
got
getting the gist. See,
repassed,
we're talking about the spirit of this, man. Well, I mean, we might not have the very specifics of how this went down, but we still know. We
but
know.
I will say this. What I think is a little bit messed up in the way that they have even initiated it here is that it wasn't re-voted on by the people either. It was through what the representatives voted on.
Right,
The
right. They
Senate
took
and the
it.
House. Well, but they voted for the A, which
Yeah.
was not the one that the people originally voted for, which seems just, again, just a little messed up. I can understand some of their certain, issues with it
I
in certain
can't. No, no,
places,
no, no.
but
I do not understand how you let something. somebody didn't cross a T or dot an I. It ended up on the ballot, and then the people spoke, and then you said we couldn't speak because we didn't dot this T. I
Yeah.
just don't. There's no kind of argument for that. That the people spoke on that, and they took it back into their hands and said, "Hold on,
And they
we don't
voted for
like
the
what
ones
you
that they
said."
wanted. They voted for the one
Right?
that they wanted, the
Yes.
B option.
Yeah.
I mean, the A option and not the B option, which was the one that was overwhelmingly
It
passed.
restrict. I think the only difference was it restricts. It had some limitations
Yeah.
on the amount or the
And how
whatever.
many
Yeah,
dispensaries
man,
and
and that gets me. I heard Tate Reeves just a week or so ago, and he said that's governor of Mississippi for you, uh, tourists,
as we like to call them around here.
tourists of
All
Mississippi.
right.
Yeah, but he said okay. He was like arguing that I just don't feel like people need 10 joints a day. And it just crawled all over me because it's like who are you to say how many joints
Yeah.
anybody needs? I
And
mean,
you go to a liquor store and you can drink a fifth or an ounce.
it's yeah, you hopping ahead, but that's what we need to I mean, it is
Sorry.
exactly like saying that. Come on. Hey, I just don't think you need to keep 10 fifths of
Right.
bourbon in your
But who is that for you to say?
cabinet. Don't
I mean,
you
if
can't do
you want
that.
it, you may get alcohol poisoning, but you know what? If you're a responsible adult, nobody's going to
That's right.
look or
No, no,
say none the wiser, you
you
know?
very well could get alcohol poisoning. But I'll
Mhm.
tell you one thing you won't get, weed poisoning.
Yep. We got the stats to show it.
Because
Pretty
everybody
bad.
everybody knows about Colorado, okay? Colorado was 2012. They are 10 years in the game. This year will be their 10th anniversary.
Mhm.
And it looks like they're breaking records on revenue sales, I mean, or revenue intake. And I don't know how they're shifting that money around, man, but they are shifting it. Like I was reading a little bit of this and it's
Mhm.
just like they are putting it everywhere and
But
a
there's so much that can come out of the tax revenue. I mean, I hate honestly thinking about how much taxes are getting spent, but at least if you want to create something that can be taxed that people are going to enjoy and fine
yeah.
with paying the tax fee
Yeah,
for it.
that's a good point to go into this since I didn't really pull any bullet points out of this article or
Mhm.
anything, but the spirit of the article is dead gummit, we're making money off of this. The state is and can find a way to make money. The people are fine with paying that tax
Right.
on that.
Right.
And look at how much things we can do with this tax money. Now, of course, you want to get more involved with where the money goes after we pay on this. We want to know what our
Right.
tax dollars are doing with the marijuana sales, of the for the state.
But I
But
mean, this is going like on education and
yeah,
building new buildings, renovating facilities. They
and
were
see,
talking
but
about build back better. I
mhm,
mean, tell me how
man,
this huge
b-
influx of revenue
roll a blunt and build back better.
build back
But
better. Let's do it.
all that, and that's where you can have your debate is where should this money go? The debate shouldn't be should we get this money for this. Like that should not be a debate. As soon as right when y'all came out of the prohibition of alcohol, like that's when marijuana shouldn't have been a debate if it should be legal or not.
Right.
And I've got my own personal reasons of why I believe that the federal government and the higher ups and the entities will not just legalize it like alcohol. I've got.
Well, pharma's way too invested in it. The pharma wants you to take them pills to relax and ease your
I
mind. You
think
know what
they,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
and they're working a way where they can control the marijuana distribution, which they know they can't because it's just a what? A
Mm.
weed.
Yeah, it's
It's
just a
just a
plant,
plant
man.
that anybody can grow.
Anybody
God, uh, it's here for everybody. And
anybody can grow this, man. But I mean, they can literally grow it in their backyard. I mean, it's not like I understand. Like right now, they can grow it in their backyard, but they would, and they run the risk of going to jail, all this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying I'm not telling anybody to go and do that. But I mean, it is the point that when we go to legalizing it in one way, this is where I don't like all those stipulations on there. I don't agree with all the stipulations for the mere fact that I have yet someone to tell me how drinking alcohol in all its ways, the good, the bad, and the ugly, how it's any better than smoking weed. In fact, in my opinion, smoking weed is better because
You're a
if you
pothead.
treat
No,
it
just
like
kidding.
an
No, she's
adult,
not. She's not.
if you only allow legal adults, in my opinion, everything should be 25 and up. I don't even agree with the 18 and 21. 25 and up. That
Unless you're
way you can,
24 and under,
yeah. And sorry guys,
everybody
if I
else would
was in
agree with that.
charge, y'all would all have to wait another year,
Yeah.
because that is the time to me that you can make good informed adult decisions, and as long as you a responsible adult, just like they tell you to drink responsibly, smoke responsibly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
We can
Don't.
have a debate on the age of where you need to
Yeah.
start doing this, because we have, research with brain testing. I mean, we just are getting more advanced on what is our brains and what is our bodies doing at these certain, stages in life. And, that can be a debate of when. But
Yeah, but I mean, just take the laws right now as it is and switch out the word alcohol or liquor or beer and put in weed or marijuana.
yeah.
And tell me how any of it would be better as it being alcohol versus weed. To me, it kind of can keep inside the lines of where we are there. And the reason a lot of these people also aren't trying to push that so hard is because they disagree with that, but they never want to talk about getting rid of liquor and beer. I mean, to me, legalize it with everything else or take everything else away.
You
That's
know,
my opinion
one
because
Yeah, yeah, and one point that always hit me before this marijuana thing even came to existence here in Mississippi was just if I wanted to get some smoke, I had to go to the hood
right?
and get some smoke. But you know what? Those dealers that had the smoke, they had other stuff
Yes, it is.
that I actually ended up falling into. And that point right there is what I'm trying to make is if we can take it out of the enemy's hand, because I would just want to go and smoke, but
Right.
yet that drug dealer wanted to sell me something that he could make a lot more money off
Right.
of, and so I was being sold other products.
Right.
Whereas if we can control it, a plant, restrict the age, so you can make a mature decision whether you feel like your body functions with that substance in you or not,
Mhm.
then that's where it should be. That would be a safer choice. Common sense tells us we can regulate, we can surveillance this a lot better than these kids run into the hood because mommy and daddy
Right.
saying you can't have this. The brother state saying you can't have
Yeah.
this.
And I mean,
They're gonna get it
it's just like alcohol. I mean,
because
kids
it's a
who want to
plant
get it
that
are going to get it,
grows. They're gonna
just
get it.
like alcohol.
Yeah.
And just like alcohol, you should be able to put in place the exact same rules
They
as you
can't.
do with
I'm
alcohol.
sorry to interrupt, Kim. They can't just make cocaine. You can't
Right.
just make that.
Can't just
You
grow it
know,
and chop it off.
right. They got to go find that through somebody getting it.
Yeah.
But you
And that's
know,
a process.
yeah. Anyway, that was one of my big pet peeves. It was like when I came to the realization of, man, they are really trying to suppress this, and if kids are gonna go out and explore, they're gonna lead those kids into the wrong
Yeah.
direction. If they see it's controlled substance, I mean, if it's controlled and isolated to where it can be surveillanced and regulated, it's just gonna be harder for a kid to get.
Yeah, because I can tell you the drug dealers aren't going to have that on hand as much since it can be sold in stores. I mean,
Right.
it's not like they're sitting around there trying to sell off 40s.
Yeah.
It's because you can buy it in a gas station.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to go and drive down to the hood and risk their life and
Right.
limb to go buy a 40 from a dealer.
Right.
Same thing here.
And
You're
and
taking it out of, like you said, you're taking it out of the hands of the drug dealers. And honestly, this is where I get the most pushback is from the people that supposedly are on our side, that want less government interference, that want us to have individual rights, that
amen.
want tax dollars spent the right way, right?
Yeah.
I, tell me how this isn't going to work
It's like
in your favor.
no crap. It's like one thing that you can actually cross the aisle. You can actually have bipartisan support
Mm-hmm.
on the legalization of marijuana. And you can't even do that? Like I feel you, Kim. I'm so aggravated with our Republican friends that just
Act like, oh
act
no, it's
so
weed. What are you talking about? That's
holier
horrible.
than thou. Like it's man, you're sitting there holier than thou about weed, but you go home and open your scotch and beat your wife. What the heck? You know, I don't mean that, but I
We
mean,
aren't speaking specifically. We're just,
but you know, what does alcohol do? I've seen alcohol destroy families.
right.
I've seen weed make families.
Amen.
I
But I
mean,
mean,
for real.
seriously, and you treat it, you drink or smoke responsibly, then it's going to be recreational, just like beer, liquor. It's all recreational. It's meant
Yeah.
to have fun and relax, and you have it at parties. Blah blah
You
blah.
can't be driving around on
Right.
smoking a blunt. You can't.
And
You
people
can't
who
be
are
working.
informed, intelligent adults, they know that. They
Yes,
know
they
that.
know that. They know this is such a stupid debate to have. Honestly, it really
Hmm.
shows the hypocrisy on our side.
Yeah.
On the conservative side, I can't stand that they continue to bring
Just
division
make it
on
sound like
this.
this. The devil's lettuce,
And I
all
mean,
this
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff. It's like,
And I know we sound like a couple of, pothead promoting weed, kind of people, but look, we ain't, I don't.
and it is medicinal, just like liquor actually used to be back in the day. It was medicinal, and it
Mhm.
is like a medicine. Only it's to me better. And it's like this is. I mean, talk about pushing. I'm not trying to push it necessarily, but I
Right.
mean, it does. It can enhance certain parts in your brain. It can help in many different ways. You can break it down in certain ways that actually help people medically. You could get people actually off of dependent on pills. It helps with what is the it's not Tourette's. I know what I'm thinking of. It's
Epilepsy.
no
Um.
the one with the Michael J. Fox has it. I cannot think of it.
Oh shoot! I just went fart on that too. Hold on.
But I know that a lot of people with this
Parkinson's.
Parkinson's,
Parkinson's
thank
disease.
you. But I mean, not just that, cancer patients and everything, it takes away,
Right.
nausea, things like that.
Right.
And
And
they,
that's the
because of these
research.
stupid
Mm-hmm.
laws
Yeah.
that are keeping it out of their hands, or they have to have a special subscription, I mean prescription, just to be able to
They
access it.
they act like if you legalize it, everybody, including the little 6-month-old baby's gonna have a blunt in their
Right.
mouth. It's like no, I know people that just don't do it because they just don't like the feeling of it. Because I mean,
Yeah.
it just don't hit them right. And I mean, that's something that you and your doctor can talk about as far as going medical marijuana.
Right.
But
Right. Just keeping it here.
even if it was a recreational thing,
Yeah.
why not talk to your doctor about it? Say, look, what do you think about me doing this? I mean that's that good doctor patient relationship that you can have,
And it
and
can start off. I look. That's why I'm saying it is a victory. It's a small step. It's a victory. We need to
yeah.
keep going from here. We need to keep pushing it good here. Let's have about let it get all the way implemented. Give it a good 6 months or so to actually show how it's improving people's lives,
Kim
and
sounds
then we
like
can
she gonna
have that.
light up right when we turn these mics off. I'm sorry.
I didn't say nothing.
No,
Okay,
no,
I didn't
no.
say
I'm
nothing.
picking. I got it. Look, this is easy targets, man. When we're
I
talking
know. I
about
know. Hey,
marijuana,
I'm
it
even wearing
is.
my green shirt.
Oh, dang! I almost put my green sweater on.
No, I mean, but I hate that it's being withheld, and it has so many health benefits. It has so many medical benefits, and if we even just treat it on the medical side, we need to.
Hmm.
Mississippians need that access. We need the access, like you said, from the doctor, be able to talk to your doctor and make sure that it's something
Yeah.
right for you. But I mean, it with that, it's not like you can only have cancer or glaucoma, which is where it is before that gets enacted.
Yeah.
That's the only people that are quote privileged to be able to
Yeah.
have it in Mississippi, and that's ridiculous. It can help so many more people,
Mm-hmm.
and you can, like I said, you can stop being chemically dependent on pills that can
Yeah.
help that can hurt you even more. I mean, so many of those side effects are 10 times
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah. And everybody's waking up to that. The medical marijuana part, we're not going to see, and we're not going to benefit from the revenue that Colorado's benefiting from.
Hmm.
All the
But
other
you know what
states are benefiting
Mississippi
from.
apparently was benefiting last year during the pandemic year?
Yes.
You want to bring this one up?
Perfect segue. Perfect.
So we have Mississippi
Through
alcohol
the
sales
roof.
reportedly outpaced nation during we were one of the highest sales, y'all. Highest sales of alcohol. ABC warehouse and Gladstone could hardly even
Yeah.
keep up. And like we said, you have alcohol poisoning. You have a lot more people that can get involved in motor vehicle accidents, and you lose your inhibitions a lot faster
Yeah.
on alcohol here, and that's kind of what makes that happen. So I mean,
And that's how it goes to the point of, I'm sorry, the enemy of this world is wanting this to be legal and for marijuana not to be legal.
right,
Marijuana is I know I'm going to get some backlash on this, but marijuana is a plant that God created. Alcohol is a man-made substance.
yeah,
So is heroin, so is cocaine. Yeah, it came from the coca leaf. You got to do a bunch of crap
it's a
to it.
process. You have to process
There's
it.
a man-made process that you have to do to get these types of drugs, including pharmacia, pharmacy,
That's why they
including
got the
big
little
pharma.
fingers.
Men are making this stuff. Yes, there are some good intentioned doctors in lab coats out there researching,
Hmm.
making good pharmaceuticals. But when you get to the core and the actual spiritual uh, aspect of this, marijuana is just a plant that was grown. It yields a seed, and it was good for mankind.
Right.
And for them to push so hard on keeping it hard to get to for anybody,
Right.
even people that are sick and have issues that this medical marijuana will, you know, they'll be approved for, to keep it from them.
Right.
Now I know it's a bunch of brainwashed Republicans that have just been like, oh, weed bad, marijuana bad. They've grown up through the '60s. Oh, it's just so bad.
Right. And I mean, just
I
if
know it's a lot of brainwashing that's been going on there, but think about that spiritual aspect of it. This is not a man-made substance, okay?
right.
But alcohol and heroin, all of them are. I know heroin and all that. Well, they just legalized it in Oregon, a little side thing in
Yeah, they legalize
2020.
other stuff. Yeah.
We're really gonna see
But
some
that's Oregon,
statistics
and I'm
coming
not
out
trying
of
to be
there.
mean, but Oregon has already just kind of flipped all the way to the crazy left.
Isn't that where Portland? Isn't that where Chaz Town was?
Yeah, all
Chaz
those
Town.
places, all those weird, crazy
See,
places, they
they
were all in Oregon.
they going nuts. They
Also.
on fire anyway. But
Right, and
and it
and
ain't
once you
it
get
ain't
those
this
people out
kind
of
of
there,
fire that they own either,
no,
man. Hopefully this stuff will settle
no,
them
and
down a
that's
little
what's
bit.
sad. I mean, I think they're even the place that's wanting to try to like legalize prostitution and stuff. I mean, that's why I'm
Wow.
like, there would be no
Wow.
way I would move to Oregon right now the way it is.
Mm.
No way. That you'd have to gut out the whole government for me to even think about it.
But that's why it's a state. I love the United States because we can unite, but
Yep.
we can also be like, you stay over in your state. That's
But I
some
mean,
that's some Oregon stuff right
like you
there.
were saying, we can have across the aisle
Yes.
compromises
We
here. And
need
I
to.
am glad, like I said, I am glad right now we do have the initiative has now passed. I don't think he signed it yet. I think it's been a couple days.
I don't
They,
think
they
he's
said
gonna
he's not
sign
going to
it.
sign it,
Yeah.
but then after 5 days, it just becomes law.
Right.
So, okay.
Oh,
Um,
wimp. Tate.
I,
Such a wimp, man. He looks like a wimp. I hate it. Lord forgive me. He does look like a
Tater
wimp.
Tot does look like a wimp for sure.
Golly,
Yeah.
bro. You can just look at him just.
Slow down. Mm. And I mean, I hate to say that because
It's like this right here. Where's my hand? Oh, that's tight
a
right there.
little limp, a little
Yeah,
limp. It
man,
just went a
man. It's
little
just
limp.
man, and I just like the backbone. I like the truth.
Right. Yeah.
I am not a pothead, but I am a marijuana advocate. Yes, yes.
Yes.
Especially with my Democratic brothers that can, that is something that we can agree with, then let's agree, man.
Right. Right. Talk about unity. Let's show some unity in places that can actually benefit people. And we've looked like we've come across the aisle. And it's also going back to individuals' rights to choose. I mean, you want to talk about freedom of choice? This is freedom of choice right here. And you're suppressing that can easily go in the right direction
Yeah.
here. I mean, we're always why, why, why is Mississippi always one of the last places to change
It's
things?
just
I
is,
I
man.
have yet to understand this. I've grown up in Mississippi and I love Mississippi. Why are we one of the last ones to ever get anything done? Everybody else moves before we move.
Mm-hmm.
And why? Why? Why can't we be one of the first to do? Right?
Yeah.
Something good, not something bad like one of the highest,
Just
capital murder rates ever. Like I don't want that to be us. I want us to be like one of the first. The, we do have some good stuff. Before we do that, we have some really good medical systems in Mississippi. We have one of the leading, hospitals that are doing, you know, the university that's actually doing good work.
yeah.
And I hate for it to be overshadowed with stuff like this.
Yeah, it's overshadowed for sure.
And that's what's sad. I mean, the whole medical industry has just been gutted, and it's so hard for people to even tell who they can trust anymore, medically wise, which is the scariest thing to me. And this is why if we
Yeah.
can just get these little bitty victories and these little bitty wins and actually do some
You think
positive stuff in this direction, that it would just
yeah.
be so much better. I think just in the long run, it's just going to be better.
Right. And I hope they don't. I hope they're not like the Republican side's not like we don't want to give the Democrats a win. Like I
We
hope it's
should
not one
want
of
to if
those
it's
things
something
because
good.
yeah, I mean, we got so much divisiveness going on right now, man. If that ain't a weed quote, then I don't know what is, man. We just need to get along and
We all
we need to
do.
pass
If we have
this
something if we
yearn.
have something that we can get along about that actually makes sense and that can actually help people
Yeah, man.
and that we can look like, I mean, why not want to look like we're reaching across the aisle for something good for the Mississippi citizens
Put
that
it.
actually voted for it in 2020 over 75%,
Why
guys. That wasn't just Democrats.
why can't statutes like be put in there or some amendment thing or something that can be put in there that says, okay, if we have this many deaths or if crime reaches this because of this, we got to pull this bill. What do you guys think? And sign into law. I mean, why can't it
Mm.
like that's what I mean,
I
but
mean, it's something.
something
Something.
to
It
put
has to have a good. You have to have a good meter on that, on what is actually causing it.
yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to get that specific about that, but I mean, my point is, you
Somewhere to
know,
start.
go ahead and see what happens with I mean, you've already had 10 years of some states doing it and they haven't burned down. As a matter of fact, their revenue has gone up and they've had more money to play with for the
Hmm.
state to better
And there's a
itself.
good little outline to go by on some of these states. Like you like what they did here, you like what they did
Mhm.
here. You don't really
Mhm.
like what they did here, so
Right.
we may not do that. And you've got some good states to
So
go by
so I
to give
guess that's
yourself a
the
little
good thing. Yeah,
outline.
that's a good thing for Mississippi to do. If you're going to be last, then look at
At
what's
least make it
happening
the
in front
best.
of you and do it better.
Right, right,
Not fight against what they did. I
right.
mean, they're not falling apart. These states still holding up. There is some recreational weed smokers out there still bringing lots of money into the state of Colorado.
Yep.
And they are going home and smoking a joint and chilling out and legally
Mhm.
and
Yeah, and they're responsible. Like
yeah,
they're not,
there's some
that's
responsible
another thing is they
drinking.
want to paint everyone
Yeah.
that wants to have and smoke and consume weed as these dude
Yeah.
stoner man. I just want to go back and hit 10 joints,
Just
man.
legalize it.
Oh, legalize. I mean, come on now. We've got respectable people that actually enjoy consuming it. Let's be
Yeah, man.
honest here,
And
guys.
speaking of consuming it, man, that's the good thing about. I mean, alcohol. You can't smoke no alcohol, but anyway, smoking is bad for you.
I
Yeah,
hope not.
but edibles. I mean, what the heck? You're eating
Yeah.
can of butter. Oh man, I was listening to a local radio station, and they were talking about this today. And one of the online questions came in, and you could tell the guy was the online question was a legitimate question about this guy owns a business. Wasn't gonna say, he just wanted to know if what the stipulations would be of him putting it in butter
Hmm.
form,
Which is how
or
they make a lot of like
medically or whatever, if it
edibles.
could use.
Yeah.
Well, this dude didn't even, you could tell he didn't even know what the butter thing was.
Hmm.
So it was like, oh my gosh, man, we and
And
and he, and
maybe if
he
they
was a
did know.
he was a prominent local radio station. Like, this guy's been around for years, and that's what I'm saying. It's this old guard people that are just brainwashed to think marijuana hippie. Like, that's
Right.
all they think is
And they
hippie
don't want to do
marijuana.
any digging and any
Right,
research into this.
right.
Like you can
Same
tell if
thing they
you
think
don't
about
know that.
psychedelics and mushrooms, and they're just all in one batch, hippie
Yeah.
batch.
Yeah, the hip and I can understand.
Being brainwashed and being of that era,
Right. Cuz
yeah.
that's what it's kind of like the same thing. I love you, mom. It's the same thing as how my mom used to tell us how older people would view people with tattoos. Like back in the day, if you saw someone with a tattoo, that
Yeah.
meant that they were drunk, really drunk off their butt, and that they went and got a tattoo because they were
They were just
drunkards,
messed up.
and so that meant that they were huge. So, and it's like, well, I mean,
Who knows what
nowadays,
they would have got if they was high?
I mean, that's what,
Who
and I
knows?
mean, and I understand her point because back then that is how they viewed those things.
Now I'm surprised when I see somebody without a tattoo. I'm like, you rock, dude. You are different, bro.
I
You
don't have.
not one tat on this. Yep. Wait, there was that one.
I don't have one. I have one. I have.
Remember you smoked
I
that
actually
big
have
old
a
blunt?
draw out of if I ever got one, I know what I would get, but I'm probably never gonna get it. But if I ever did now, I just have Lizzie draw it for me, my daughter. She's a
Yeah,
good
man.
artist. She would do great on it, but no, probably not ever gonna actually be done. But I don't look down on people that did. But I grew up in the age where it was a little more normal to see it, and this is
Yeah.
kind of where, like you said,
Yeah.
brainwashed on the smoking weed. We need to get that stigma,
Yeah.
the stigma out of this specific
Mhm.
substance here
Yeah.
because it's got so many benefits. And when we sit there and go, nope, nope, we're just going to close off, we're going to close our mind off.
We're gonna tell you we believe in less government, but I don't think you should
But
have
I
this
think the
much
government should
stuff,
tell
and
you if you
I'm gonna
can't do it.
regulate it. I mean, you're talking out of both sides of your what? You know
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
That's got to stop. And if you are so blind to that hypocrisy, then you don't need that job. And we need to get some humble, truthful people in positions of power.
Mm-hmm.
Have to, man.
Yes.
Guys.
Well, you know what, guys? We enjoyed bringing up this topic, and hopefully, you know, it will quickly get around to something that we can at least live with, and maybe go forward from here to even doing more of a recreational take, and bring in some more revenue for the state and all the good stuff that it would be
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, because there's been some good. I mean, these people. We got DeSoto County up there, close to Memphis. Those guys have been going hard at making it recreation, and it's been Democrats,
Yeah.
and I'm ready to see some conservatives get on board with this, because if we're gonna cross the aisle somewhere, let's just cross the aisle there, because it is that easy of a target of
Right.
common sense. It
And it
really
is
is.
something good.
Yeah,
It's good for the community. It really
yeah, you
is.
can't have alcohol. That is just a solid home run point right there. You cannot have alcohol legal and marijuana not. It
Exactly.
is you can circle around that all
Yeah.
you want, but the bottom line is you're gonna legalize that. This has to be legal.
It's such a hypocrite thing to say one thing on one side and then to say this on this side. Especially like we said, with so many actual benefits to this one substance, and to make it the one thing that you want to sit there and act like a nanny state about, but be okay with the liquor
Mm-hmm.
and the beer. That it just seems very, you know, like hypocrite, hypocritic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, guys, thank y'all so much. Um, All right. Well, be
Yeah, yeah.
watching out. Hey,
W-
let me go ahead.
Let
Let
me
me go
let me
ahead.
say let me say let me say please now. This is a subject I know some fam that wants to talk about this. I want to see some comments. We want to know what you guys think cuz I want to
Yeah.
respond to them, cuz y'all might bring up some stuff that I know y'all will. I know some people out there will bring up some stuff where me and Kim are like, "What? I didn't even think of that. That's
Mhm.
awesome. You rock. Can we
Another way that getting this open debate going
Right.
about
We need to
things and
get this conversation
ideas.
rolling because if you bring up something, and we can put it out there or y'all can put it out there and we can get to these people that can actually do stuff, which is you. You can actually do something because your voice matters and you need to be a voice. So be
Yes.
a voice on our comments. And also, that's a good segue to my little wrinkly brain channel that I've got going now. It's on
Yes.
YouTube. I'm gonna try to get it everywhere, but
Oh, it's gonna be
it's just
so fun. These little videos are
man,
awesome.
I'm just about promoting the Lord and His work, and we're gonna finish it off with my very first video here. So thank y'all for joining us at SK Podcast again, man. We love you guys,
Yes,
and
and come follow in the descriptions below. You
all
will
of
know
these
how to
things
follow
right there.
us.
Mm-hmm.
Check out our new videos on TikTok. We're gonna do our TikTok takeover, you guys.
It
It's
might
so
take a
interesting
second.
actually now that I've actually been watching TikTok, like how many people
Yeah,
on our side are actually on there. You would think
oh
it
man, yeah.
wasn't,
Oh,
man.
it's
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 awesome.
it's already been taken over. Meme kings, baby. Everybody there. I mean, you got the crazy Kool-Aid hair women that are still putting out
Yeah,
crazy
but what's
stuff,
what's
but
crazy is you even got
they ain't
those
make no
people that
sense.
still actually have some common sense too. It really, really surprised me.
Hmm.
I'm gonna try to promote some of those people because not all their videos I agree with, but some of them are like, you know what, that kind of makes some sense.
Hmm.
I mean that's another way to bridge the gap and reach
Hey,
the other side,
I don't
man.
care what side you're on. If you make sense and if you speaking truth, brother, you got a
Right,
brother.
right. At least got an ear, you
That's
know.
right.
All right, thank you guys. We'll see you later. We're gonna lead it out with Wrinkly Brain's first video on
Whoop,
Wrinkly
whoop.
Brain YouTube channel.
Yeah, baby.
Bye, guys.
Like and share.
You should recognize the pattern of government. Hear me, hear me. Harassment leads to disruption. Disruption leads to interference. And unchecked interference is what leads to persecution. Hear me, friend, hear me. It doesn't start out as persecution. It starts out as suggestions, guidelines, mandates, edicts, press releases, legislation. And before you know it, you've been boiled alive because you didn't have enough common sense to jump out when the heat got turned up. I'm not a victim of their narrative. I am an overcomer in Christ Jesus. In fact, I'm not just a conqueror, I am more than a conqueror. But I'm also a student of history, and I'm a student of church history. And I know where this leads. So why are we spoken out the way we do? Why do we develop statements on public theology the way that we do? Because the church has a prophetic responsibility to be a voice into culture. And when the church loses her voice, the world loses her mind. So we're going to be a voice.